So growing at that scale where you guys basically 4x, like how do you still keep that culture and that shared mission still there within the company?
It's one of the most important things you could do as a company. I mean, hands down. I always say that there's no difference between culture and leadership. Meaning someone will be like, oh, this culture of this company sucks. You know what? The leaders of the company then suck.
Right.
Meaning if you don't have the right leaders, you don't have the right culture. So kind of step number one in ensuring you have a great culture is you need the leaders in the company to exemplify that culture that you really stand for.
Right.
We've actually codified the cultural attributes that are most important to our company. I can share it with you if you want.
Yeah, please. That would be amazing.
Yeah. So there are 5 things, and we actually call it here. Where's that?
We got the manifesto?
Well, no, I don't see it right here. We actually have scope bottles at everyone's desk. And the reason for it is it stands for scope, not because people have bad breath, don't worry. And what it stands for is S is for selflessness. We like to hire and promote people who are truly selfless in how they work. They don't prioritize what their needs are. There's not an ego focus, but it's more about how do I help the team. Right. That's S for selfless. C is for celebrate big wins, small wins, etc. There we go. Here's
awesome.
scope bottles. Yay!
That's genius. I love that. Did you get a good shot of that, Ahmed, on live? So every employee gets this?
Every employee has one at their desk. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. So C is for celebrating, O is for over-communicating. When you get bigger, you can't just be a good communicator, you have to be an over-communicator. If you're not sure, CC that person on that email. If you're not sure, set up that meeting to make sure that everyone understands exactly what's happening. You can't just manage through telling 2 or 3 people when you have 120. It's very different than when you had people, only 20 employees.
Right.
P is for planning. That's important because, again, as you get bigger, you can't just operate by the seat of your pants and and just make decisions quickly. And E is for empowering, and that's about empowering employees. If they see something, then they should say something. If they disagree with me, they should walk into my office and tell me I completely disagree. Right. It's about empowering people to be the CEOs of their area and owning it. So we use that for recruiting. Right. We use that for reviews of employees, and I think it really resonates because it makes sure that the types of people who we continue to bring in, the types of leadership qualities that we look for, are people who are selfless, focused on celebrating, over-communicating, planning-oriented, and empowering of people.
Right. So do you think, is it ever too early for a company to set those values, like when they're starting out, or would you say wait a little bit for them to figure it out?
I don't think, I think it's like when you have 3 employees, you certainly don't need to codify that, like, okay, these are our cultural values.
Yeah.
Because it has to kind of come up from the ground up, and it has to really represent who you are.
Right.
We frankly didn't codify our values until we were about 100 employees. Right. Because it had to represent who we are rather than just kind of some words on a screen. It had to be when I talked about it with the team, they said, oh my God, that's so us.
Yeah.
And there's not that so us when there's only 3 or 4 people. So what I would say is entrepreneurs need to be cognizant of the types of leaders and employees that they bring in initially, because the initial people are going to have an outsized impact on the culture of the company, without a doubt, and understand the types of attributes that they're looking for, high sense of urgency or high analytic focus, whatever it is.
Right.
But you shouldn't codify anything for quite some time.
Right. So that could be